Okay, so in this problem we're going to print out a diamond using while loops. Now, this problem asks the user to input the integer n, and then we'll print out the following diamond, which is really just an upper pyramid and a lower pyramid. And here n is equal to 5. So let's take a closer look at that. So if we take a look at the first row, we'll notice that we have 1 star and 4 spaces before the star and 4 spaces after it, but really we're not worried about the spaces after the stars in this problem. Row 2 has 3 spaces and then 3 stars. Row 3 has 2 spaces and 5 stars. Row 4 has 1 space followed by 7 stars, and row 5 has 9 stars. So there's very simple mathematics involved in the star count and space count. Basically our space count is n minus the row number, so n is 5, and for the 5th row we have no spaces, but for the first row we have 4. And the star count is a little bit more tricky. Basically it's 2 multiplied by row number minus 1. So for the top row we have 1 star, and then the second row is 3 stars, and so on. And after the top pyramid we really need to print out the bottom pyramid, and that's more or less a mirror image, but we'll come to that. Let's have a look at how this looks in code form first. We're going to ask the user to input their n value, and then we're going to have a variable for our row number initialized at 1. We're going to solve this using while loops, and basically while row is less than or equal to n, well, we're going to focus on the top pyramid first, and then do the bottom pyramid later. So to print out the top pyramid, we use this while loop. While row is less than or equal to n, print out the spaces, print out the stars, print out a new line, and then increment our rows. So first we're going to need a space count. Initialized at 0, you'll notice that there are rows that have no spaces at all printed. While that space count is less than n minus the row number, we're going to print out a space and then increment our space count. So if you look again at the diagram, space count begins at 0. While space count is less than 4, it prints out a space and then increments. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in total. Then when space count equals 4, we leave the while loop and move on to printing out these stars. Here we're going to use the variable star count initialized at 0, and here again we're going to use the value we calculated already. While our star count is less than 2 multiplied by the row number minus 1, we're going to enter another loop. So, we're going to enter another loop. So while that star count is less than that, we're going to print out the star and then increment our star count. Now, hopefully we shouldn't have too much of a problem here. Star count is less than 2 times 1 minus 1. We print out a star, and then star count increments to 1, and then it's not less than it anymore. So we move back and up to row number 2. Let's see if this works. Hopefully we'll have a pyramid shape. Brilliant. The first part of the problem is solved. Now we have to look at the second part of the problem. Now here, basically, I'm going to solve this by decrementing our row number and then reversing the process. So yet again, I'll use space count to output the spaces, and while our space count is less than n minus row, it's basically, this is almost exactly the same as in the previous while loop. While space count is less than n minus row, we're going to output a space and then increment our space count. And when space count is 0, 5 minus 5, well, it's not less, 0 is not less than 0. Not in my mathematical, not to the extent of my knowledge in maths anyway. So that will finish, and we'll enter to print out the many stars. Again, we'll have a star count initialized at 0, and while our star count is less than 2 times row minus 1, again, row, we're really reversing from 5 down to 1 again. Row is starting at 5, while star count is less than 2 times 5 minus 1. We print out a star. And from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's actually going to be 9 stars. For the for the 5th row, it's kind of like an upside down pyramid, as you remember. So let's increment our star count, start our new line, and hopefully after all that we'll have our diamond. And there we are.